What's up, y'all? Ender here from The Ordinary Gamer, bringing you another quick Destiny video. About a week before the release of Rise of Iron, I made a video talking about whether we thought Rise of Iron was worth going back to Destiny 4. I planned on making another video about a week after the release to answer that question once and for all, but there was more and more to look at and take into consideration before making a final judgment. Finally, with the Iron Banner ending this week, I feel like I've played everything enough that was meant to be in the expansion to make that decision. I worked on a list and came up with pros and cons for you guys, so here you go. Cons. Price. While $30 really isn't a lot of money, particularly for the amount of time Destiny fans put into each expansion, Rise of Iron doesn't feel as meaty as even the Dark Below expansion that sold for $20. There is a good story in the campaign of Rise of Iron, but is extremely short and feels maybe a little rushed. Leveling up. The leveling up system is based on increments, meaning that you will usually get drops from certain activities that you do that are slightly higher than the items and weapons that you are currently using. The problem is there are huge gaps between your light level and the activities you need to do in order to move higher. A lot of people spent a lot of time stuck in the 350s range because you couldn't get any higher without doing activities that you were way underpowered for. People ended up finding workarounds like the Omnigul Cheese or being forced to do things like Crucible to level up. The idea behind incremental leveling is good in theory, but in practice it makes it so that what is normally the funnest part of the game isn't the best use of your time for leveling up. Even the raid only has a chance of giving you a weapon or armor, and then there's only a chance that it'll be incrementally better than what you were already using. In fact, the raid is usually the crown jewel in the Destiny expansion, but I found myself committing to Iron Banner for the first time all week, even though I'm not a fan of PvP, simply because it was the best way to level up your character, even more so than the raid itself. I understand wanting to incentivize your player base to try new things, but gamers know what they like. Doing something you'd rather not do because of the leveling grind will end up hurting Destiny and Bungie in the long run. Exotics and legendary weapons. They've lost their luster. I'm not saying they completely suck, but the exotics you get as random drops through the luck of the Destiny gods aren't really special. And even the raid weapons are really just okay. There's no Gjallarhorn, Vision of Confluence, Fatebringer, and so on. I mean, there is a Gjallarhorn, but it's a shadow of what it was. The only new exotic weapons with any notoriety require you to find or unlock a quest to get it. Now, I'm not saying the quests aren't fun at times, but in wanting to give everybody a level playing field, they've sacrificed the excitement and joy of getting that coveted weapon in a random drop while playing with friends. Those of you that got a Gjallarhorn in year one, you know what I'm talking about. Finally, the timing of the raid. I have no issues with the raid itself, but putting it out there 3 days after the expansion's release made it so that only people with a lot of time to grind their level through hours of gameplay in a very short period of time got to experience the raid at release. It's easy to argue that you can just take your time and get there when you get there, but gamers that are fans of Destiny want to experience the raid with their friends and everyone else. This made it harder to do that. These are things that, in my opinion, hurt the overall experience, but that Bungie could reasonably and easily fix in the future expansions. Now for the pros. Story. With the Taken King and now the Rise of Iron, we've gotten a lot more story element in each of the expansion's campaigns. While Rise of Iron's campaign seems short, it was interesting and it helped to flesh out characters and lore in Destiny even more. The Iron Temple and the Plaguelands. The new social space is different and has hidden secrets for gamers to find, and the Plaguelands have plenty of things to do and secrets to find as well. There are weekly bounties to do in the Plaguelands that are fun to do with friends and add a little something extra to do on a weekly basis with friends, aside from the usual strikes and raid. PvP, for those of you that like it. Supremacy is a great new addition to PvP and is the mode that you played for this week's Iron Banner. It's basically kill confirmed for those of you that play COD, but it takes a lot more teamwork to win than COD ever did. And finally, the raid, Wrath of the Machine. The raid is beautiful, and you can really see why Bungie had to leave last-gen consoles behind to achieve the new raid. Without any spoilers, there are parts of the raid that will definitely wow you when you see them. It's by far shorter than the previous raids, especially once you get it down, but it has some really fun and interesting mechanics and some really cool hidden secrets to discover. I was worried about the Wrath of the Machine when I heard how much shorter it was going to be than the other raids, but I wasn't disappointed in it at all. In the end, my personal answer to whether buying Rise of Iron is worth it is yes. If you're a fan of Destiny and you've already played at least up to the Taken King, then buying the expansion is an easy yes. That said, I don't think I would suggest buying this game to a newcomer. Yeah, buying Destiny now with all the expansions to date for $60 is a steal, but the experience will hardly be the same. You probably won't take the time to do the initial story, and if you do, you're going to have a really hard time finding people to do things like Vault of Glass or Crota's End at this point. A newcomer at this point would basically be using the Spark of Light, and then they would have to play through the Taken Kings campaign, only to have to start grinding to get to level 280 just to enter Rise of Iron. And even then, you really need to be at least level 300 just to get past the first part of the campaign of Rise of Iron. So if you're a seasoned Destiny player that is still on the fence on this expansion, come on over. If you're new or haven't played since year one, I can tell you that it is fun once you get to a certain point, but you're probably going to lose interest before you get there. And that's it for this video, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. I will continue to make many more Destiny videos in the future, as well as talk about other games of interest and gaming news. Thanks for watching.